Hello everyone, my name is Christian. Welcome back to Tekpon. Today our guest is Miruna, the CMO at Planable. Hello.
Hi, Chrissy. How you
Uh,
doing?
Very good. It's a pleasure to have you on the podcast. Please tell us what is Planable.
Yeah, Planable is a social media collaboration platform for marketing teams. So we help anyone who works in marketing to work better together on their content, to plan it better, to get more organized, and have a seamless approval process.
What are the main pain points that you solve for these marketers?
It's a lot about the quality of the content that can become a lot better if you involve more people and if you have a streamlined process rather than scattered feedback. Of course, it's about time and about just because organizing documents and information that you receive from various stakeholders in all sorts of tools can be super disruptive, and it's about brand safety as well. It's social is a very, very public place, as we well know, and it can turn from a cool post into a PR crisis in a second.
Yeah.
um, and having multiple pairs of eyes take a look at the same piece of content before going live can be very helpful in terms of preventing these types of situations.
And when talking about content, is it written content, video content, or any type of content?
It's mostly social media and
Okay.
also long form content like blogs, newsletters, events, webinars, anything.
Mm-hmm. And what types of companies do you see use your product?
We see a lot of agencies that offer social media as a main service. That's and the tool is very helpful in that particular use case, again, because of the collaboration and approval focus that we have. And it's also social media teams that work in-house for multi-location brands, like if you have franchises or restaurants or all sorts um, of businesses that are split into different locations and sub-brands. That's also a very popular use case for Planable.
And how does it work? It's split into teams, you have multiple views, right? Can you walk us through the process?
Yeah, of course. First of all, you can split between different brands that you manage or different clients if you're an agency, so that the tool is built that way that you can have them fully separate from one another. You can have separate collaborators from one brand to another, and there you have the safety of you being the only one that sees everything, but also the advantages of having it all in one place. And then, of course, you connect all your pages or your social media pages, and then you create some mock-up pages for, as I said, the other like newsletter, blog, and other such types of content. You can see it super pixel perfect. The visual aspect is super important for Planable. We mimic the social media platforms
Nice.
in a way that everyone it feels like it's a natural way to work on content because it looks like Facebook. So even for non-tech savvy people, they still see content on Facebook, so they're gonna feel at home and Planable. Then we have the calendar view, which helps a lot with planning posts in advance and seeing everything at a glance, how it falls together. We have views for Instagram, like the grid view. And we also have analytics.
And you can also schedule the post, or do you have
Yes.
to post it manually? Okay.
You can schedule the post, yes.
And out of all these features, which one would you say is the most loved one?
The most loved part of Planable is for sure the collaboration approval process. That's where we shine most. We have a lot of features that help you have like very customized workflows. Like we have even suggestions, for example, in which you can track the changes on a post. You can leave annotations and very specific comments. You can have multiple layered approval flow, and all of that together kind of allows any type of workflow to be hosted in Planable.
That's great. And about integrations, I guess you integrate with all the social media platforms out there.
Yes, exactly. All the main ones for sure.
How about the pricing? How does it work?
It's an interesting moment because we've kind of just launched a new version of pricing.
Okay.
But you, at the moment, you are charged per brand, meaning per workspace. That's what we call these brands that you manage separately. And so in the most basic plan that has a limited amount of features, you are charged $39 per month per workspace. And in the Pro one, you're charged $59 per month per workspace. And you can add on top of that analytics or other options if you want to.
Thanks for sharing that. How about the market? How competitive is it from your side?
It's competitive. It depends because there's various markets and sub-markets to identify with and be categorized in. The social media scheduling space is for sure a very busy space. But I'd say that there's various pieces of the pie that the biggest players in the market serve. So you have the enterprise area, and you have the scheduling in bulk for creators or for other types of businesses areas. We are best for companies that really cater the content that they put out there. Obviously, it makes sense if you have a lot of collaboration, you have a lot of tweaks that you do to the content. It doesn't just first draft doesn't get published at any point in time.
Yeah.
So we're in this niche of super, again, regulated or collaborated on content, and in the collaboration in social media space, which is not that busy actually.
Nice. I love to see that. Do you see any changes now with AI in your space?
Definitely, marketers definitely use AI a lot as a tool that enhances their work, that powers their writing, helps with inspiration. I feel like that's the biggest part that where it changed. But for sure, again, with our clients, with our customers, they don't replace writing social media content with AI, as again, it's a lot of tweaks, it's a lot of thinking about that content in advance. So it's not just about publishing content out there for our segment. And I think it's definitely going to transition more into operations and integrating more parts of the workflow, and we're excited to see that change and to implement it ourselves because we have some ideas. But yeah.
And it's more like a co-pilot, not a replacement of human work.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. I'm curious to know about the story of the company. How did it start, if you're familiar with it?
Yeah, I'm familiar. So the three co-founders met at a startup weekend, and they all had some sort of reason why they really understood the problem. Ksenia, our CEO, had a boutique agency back then, and she did social media content for various clients, and she was actually constantly asking her team to look for a solution to present work in a better way.
Yeah.
And they couldn't find one, so they had all these workarounds like PowerPoints and test pages and screenshots of posts and PowerPoints, and that was super painful in terms of time for them. Our CTO, Nick, he worked at an agency, so he saw that problem as well firsthand, and they really connected over how bad it is and how it can be done so much better. And yeah, they won that startup weekend. They went to Cluj in Romania, and then Planable got into Techstars Accelerator in London. And a while after that, it started taking off. Surely, maybe the first part was a bit difficult, but once it took off, everything became a lot easier.
And when did you join?
I joined in 2018, I think a few months after they got back from Techstars, like maybe 6 months.
How many people were back then versus now?
There was one other employee when I joined, a
Okay.
developer. And so in total, there were 3 co-founders and us two, so we're 5. And today we're 40 people. So yeah, we're growing.
And how would you describe the culture?
Um, we're very ambitious, I'd say, but not in a. We also care a lot about the culture, so it's not all hustle, no play, or it's quite balanced that way. We definitely empower the ambition that everyone who comes at Planable usually has this internal drive for the work that they do. We found that that's not something that you can teach or inspire in people unless they really love what they do and they put the value on the work that they do. So that's also something that unites us: the internal strive for better, for more, for results. We're quite, sometimes I'd definitely say we're pampered in a way and sheltered. We're in our own bubble in which everyone is calm and cool, and we try to cater to people's needs. And we have the distinct-ish thing about Planable's culture is the obsess for design. So everything is beautiful, from the website to the internal presentations to the notions that we have, to the offices, to whatever appliances that we have in the office. Like even the sockets are distinct in that way. So the focus on design is reflected everywhere, not just in the product.
Happy for you. On the other side, what did you say was your biggest challenge since starting at Planable?
It's definitely a good question. Biggest challenge.
Or you can share some lessons learned, mistakes made.
Oh, for sure. Lots and lots of mistakes. I think it's easiest to speak from my point of view as the marketer that came in
Yes.
and the choices that I made.
Mm-hmm.
I think one big mistake that I made it was the order in which I approach things. So when I joined, I went into the typical let's do it all type of approach. Everything was so shiny and new, all the tactics. I read all the blogs in SaaS marketing and growth marketing, and every day there was a new growth tactic to try out. Especially me joining in the growth hacking era. That's when I joined Planable, so that was a bit crazy.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do it all because it all sounded so good, and it all sounded like it could propel your company from 0 to infinite in a second, which was never the case. So I spent a lot of time trying to do it all without necessarily planning things in a way that can allow you to draw conclusions that are clear and that give you a sense of direction moving forward. I think I paused everything a year and a half in. I said, okay, let's just do 1-2 things that seem maybe to show some signs of progress, and that could help. And when I started focusing the efforts, it became a lot clearer and a lot more controllable, the things that we were doing for growth.
Do you think Planable has found product market fit?
For sure, yeah.
How about the funding? What is your latest funding round?
We haven't had one in a while. Our latest funding round was in 2018. I think it finalized in 2019. So it's been quite a while. We're growing and profitable. So we are still toying with the idea of a new round.
Yeah. How did you find the first customers when you joined? I'm not sure if you had already some customers when you joined.
There were some when I joined, some that just came from connections, friends, obviously, the network. There was a wave of customers that came from our first Absumo deal. So that brought us to about 50 customers. When I joined, there were 50 customers. Today, we're at about 6,500 customers. The first, I'm trying to think because there's no answer to this question really. First of all, and the first customers we had zero analytics. We didn't have that in place, so by default we didn't really know. I think it was definitely from something that we were doing, the blog, the AppSumo, and the product hunt and the growth tactics that we did help get a bit the word out there. All those small campaigns, posting on groups, all those one-time tactics that got you through the door helped gain some momentum until we managed to actually do some more serious stuff.
How about today? What's the most successful go-to-market strategy today?
Today, the biggest channel for us is for sure SEO. That brings the highest amount of customers. About 30% of revenue comes from there. And the second one is performance, which comes in various ways like PPC, but also sponsorships and display ads and any other forms.
Do you also have a free trial or a free plan?
Yeah, we have a usage-based trial, meaning that the first 50 posts are free, but after that limit is never reset in any way. So once you reach the first 50 posts, you are prompted to upgrade.
Okay, makes sense, yeah. What is the vision for the future of Planable?
I'd say it's two things. First of all, it's to bring AI in Planable, and it's already there, but we want to get a lot more creative and advanced with it. And that's something but we don't just want to include more AI just to say that we have more AI. I think we're over that whole, if you're AI, you're cool sort of period. We really want to investigate and understand what parts of the workflow and what parts of the day-to-day job of a social media manager should be enhanced by AI. And the second thing is to become a lot more accommodate. That was the word. We want to accommodate vertical videos and TikTok a lot better into Planable. We feel that that's the part that's different in social media marketing today, and we want to add the necessary twist to it.
I'm rooting for you. And now we arrived at the last part of the podcast. I'm curious to know how you started your career after high school or college.
Yeah, that's it has an interesting story to it because my first job was at Oracle. Of course, there were a few internships before that, but like the first actually paid full-time job was at Oracle as a social media publisher. That was exactly the name. And there was an entire team of social media marketers. So my job in theory was to copy paste posts from the Excels that the other colleagues were working in to social media publishing tools, which is hilarious if you think about it, like where I ended up working at Planable and helping Planable grow to solve exactly my first job. Yeah. Of course, it transformed a lot more in the meantime. At that point, I started owning some brands and channels as well. So the first 2 years I spent doing social media marketing. And after that, I joined Uber.
And after Uber, it was Planable.
Exactly, yes.
And at Uber, it was still social media?
No, at Uber, it was more growth marketing. It was a lot about conversion campaigns and acquisition campaigns, but it was a lot more growth tactical marketing.
And now we have an overview of all the marketing stuff.
Yeah, I went from very niched to very general in my career.
What would be your best piece of advice for a starting marketer?
I think the curiosity part about marketing is it's important in any job, but in marketing, there are so many moving pieces and everything ties together. Marketing is rarely as isolated as people think. It's usually very tied to the core business and to everything that the company is doing. Very few pieces actually don't tie to marketing. So when you go in big meetings or talk to people that are from completely different departments, you should always have that curiosity to understand what they're doing and why they're doing it, because that's probably very interesting to whatever you're doing. And I think it's very hard to do very good marketing without this curiosity and without a good business understanding. And marketing is a lot about common sense. That's my second piece of advice. There's so many theories out there and strategies, and they're great for clarifying things and for helping you choose between various directions and tactics. But all in all, leaving all the traditional strategies and theories behind, it's a lot about common sense.
Absolutely. And do you think it's necessary to study something in this area in order to start in marketing?
I'm not sure if like academic studies are necessary. There's always good to like read about the basics a bit to get the general idea, and that can be done just online, podcasts, whatever, reading books. I think the basics help. Having a foundation, even if you don't remember it, it helps in the future to put all the new things in perspective, and have something to lay them on rather than just a scattered ideas.
Do you see a difference from marketing nowadays versus in the past, like a few years ago? Now anybody can post on TikTok and it can go viral. And sometimes you say it respects no rules of what I knew, and it's
Yeah,
still crazy viral.
for sure. I think for a while, at least me, but I think more and more people got further away from the traditional strategies due to technology, due to the potential of social media and other growth marketing tactics, and due to the whole analytics and access to analytics that we have now. But I am finding myself, like, after years of saying, oh, that's just the old marketing, that doesn't count, that doesn't matter, that's not real stuff, that's not money, that's not customers. I am finding myself only now, with Planable growing more and more, understanding that the traditional doesn't mean it's bad. It just means that maybe it's for a different stage in terms of a company.
Absolutely. I have one last question for you. What's your favorite software that you use apart from Planable?
I'd say Superhuman or Notion. It's very hard to choose between them, but so I'm going to go with both, yeah.
Why do you like those?
Probably because of Superhuman. I love because the experience is so smooth, and I go through emails and it feels actually pleasant. And Notion because it allows me to organize things in all sorts of ways, and I'm a very visual person. So when I organize my thoughts, I need to have them clean and neat.
Okay. Is there anything else that you want to share today on the podcast?
Nothing comes to mind. Thanks for
Okay.
having me, though.
Thank you so much for joining.